There is the Boar. Big Daddy Cool, I think he was just referred to as. Judging by the size and stamina of this individual, I am not going to be the one to go down there and argue it with him, but he's certainly got a tall task ahead of him in Alexander James, the Prince of Pain. What a mammoth ham hock of a man is the Boar. And both he and Alexander James are actually looking here for their first win in Flying V Fights Pro Wrestling. So, I mean, I guess the possibility exists of a tie, but more than likely, one of these two are going to get a W on the record books finally here. You can see Alexander James adjusting his wrist. And the Boar, you know, Alexander James, not a small man by any stretch of the imagination, but the Boar might have a couple inches on him.
Alexander James legitimately looks better every time I see him. He looks so lean and powerful right now. And look at the confidence that just oozes from his well-manicured hairstyle.
And Alexander James going around back early here, turning the Boar around, trying to gain some sort of leverage.
Keys to victory to me would be exactly what Alexander James is doing. I think he's got the technical advantage, and I would give maybe slightly, but the power advantage to the Boar. We'll see how these two use those respective strengths to their advantage here in this contest.
Absolutely. We see the collar and elbow tie-up right there in the center of the squared circle. Back from break and still have so much more action here at the hardest part of the ring. Leading off with this contest. Oh, the Boar.
You know, fun fact for you, though, Mark, real quick,
Yes.
is the hardest part of the ring, often referred to as the apron.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's really the steel post.
That's interesting. And those turnbuckles underneath those pads are pretty hard, too. Well, we're going to find out exactly what the hardest part of the ring is here tonight. And perhaps it'll be in this matchup. Boar and Alexander James jockeying for position into the corner.
Maybe the hardest part of the rings were all the friends we lost along the way.
Jeez Louise. Maybe it is, Jason.
Alexander James forced into a defensive position, which does not do well for his ego.
You saw the way that he hopped up there to get that headlock firmly applied on Boar, but it wasn't enough to hold on to him. Colliding in the center of the ring right now. Alexander James perhaps reassessing his game plan, going off again. Unable to move the Boar.
He's trying to knock Boar down. You saw how easily he was able to outmaneuver Boar when he was doing that joint manipulation. So I'm kind of surprised to see him try so hard to just outmuscle Boar.
And the Boar jumping out of his own boots there to attack Alexander James. James missing with a clothesline, missing again with the back elbow. The Boar picks him up, and he's going to drop him down on his spine.
Big elbow drop to the side and chest of Alexander James, and now Boar getting some distance, which does not bode well for the Prince of Pro, the Pain Prince.
And as you said, Jason, both of these individuals looking to pick up their first victory at Flying V here tonight.
Alexander James able to just skedaddle out of the way of, I don't know, do you think that the Boar carries the estimated strength of 30 to 40 or 50 feral hogs, whatever the meme was?
Well, whatever sort of strength he is carrying with him tonight, it doesn't seem to be enough to match up against the Prince of Pain, who has got Boar in a rather stressful position here, going for the suplex, but the Boar using the ropes to his own advantage.
Alexander James believes very strongly that only one man can wear the crown of professional wrestling, and that is him. I'm hard-pressed to argue as he hangs the ham across the top rope, leaving it out to dry age for at least a few moments until he's able to hook that DDT.
And Alexander James adjusting himself before adjusting the Boar. And the Boar very intelligently rolling to the outside, but maybe not so intelligently as Alexander James kicking to the outside, unless he's happy to walk away with a count-out victory here tonight.
Kicking Boar out of the ring like a wealthy person does the remains of their Christmas ham, not taking the leftovers.
You're really leaning into this ham thing tonight, Jason.
It's what I've got.
And Boar up to a 5 count.
As a Jew, I'm uniquely qualified to make pig references.
Alexander James not doing anything to stay on the board.
No, just willing to get a count-out victory. For him, a win is a win, and he just might get it.
And Boar, Alexander James catching him though, dropping the leg.
AJ rolling, Boar into the center of the ring. Great positioning, leg hooked, but still not enough offense mounted to wear down Boar's strength.
You can see the way that James is pacing around right now. We talked early on about how well-traveled this guy is, everything that he's been able to do, everything that's been put in front of him. The Prince of Pain has been able to deal with relative ease, but here tonight he's definitely got a challenge on his hands. The Boar, as much as Alexander James is laying into him right now, what is it going to take to keep this man down? Is he even a man?
No, I believe he is what is considered a half-human, half-boar hybrid. So, actually, the question of is he's a man or not is more complicated. I think we can answer at this juncture on a philosophical level. But what will it take to keep him down? Constant, consistent aggression and a measured pace and not losing focus. And I think that that's something AJ can do, but sometimes his temper gets the better of him.
And now Alexander James trying to follow through, and he does with that thrust to the throat. Boar struggling to breathe right now as Alexander James climbs to that second rope. Well, what's he doing right now?
Looks like he's wrenching the head of Boar, moving that snout in ways it was never intended to be manipulated by God nor high evolutionary.
Boar wearing that mask, it's definitely something of a scare tactic, but as you see right there, he's giving Alexander James just something extra to hang on to.
He's got him by the tusks.
Imagine someone's just grabbing you by the teeth, and there's nothing the referee can really do about it.
To be honest, my dad's a dentist. That is a recurring nightmare.
Oh, man. Alexander James now. The fans very much behind Boar here.
Unlikely story of Boar fighting from underneath, and yet that's what we're seeing here, showing just how well Alexander James has done playing the game against the Boar.
You saw James there fake him out with that fake right hand, hit him with the left, and now hits him with that back elbow. The Boar is staggering into the corner. Alexander James following up.
Step up, and now looks like he's trying to get an opening get again for that snout, but instead a throw that landed with the impact of a power bomb.
And the Boar trying to follow up, hits Alexander James with that clothesline, hits him again.
Big splash. The Boar really a throwback, so idolizes these larger classic wrestlers, and you see that in his offense. Big sidewalk slam.
And dropping him down there, this could be the opening that Boar's been looking for. If Boar can make it back to that vertical base, if he can put this one away, he's going to have that victory that both he and Alexander James are both seeking. Hits him with a big boot.
Beautiful leapfrog by James, but just couldn't capitalize on that momentary evasion. And now, yet again, anytime James goes to his technical viciousness, he proves to be successful with that modified cravat.
And now, jumping up onto the shoulders, up onto the back, trying to get some leverage, but Boar shoving him into the corner and now tossing him across the ring. And look at that.
Gore, center of the ring, and now Boar leg hooked.
And that's going to be it.
At 7 minutes and 56 seconds, the
Boar, all the way from Moldova, sending Alexander James back to WXW in Germany, getting his first victory here at Flying V. An impressive matchup, to say the absolute least.
Chalking up his first big victory here in Flying V Fights Pro Wrestling is the Boar.